Whether it's a brand new timepiece or a vintage watch with a history, a Rolex Submariner is an iconic accessory that any aficionado counts as a staple in their collection. The watch is a favorite of famous collectors like John Mayer, David Beckham, Mark Wahlberg, and Tom Hardy. First manufactured in 1953 as a waterproof watch for divers, the Submariner's utilitarian design looks luxurious in any setting it's put in, whether it be on a steel bracelet on the runway or a nylon strap in the middle of the ocean. Its versatile design has also made it highly valuable over time, with vintage watches selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The watch's transformation from a piece of sports equipment to a highly sought-after luxury item has made the Rolex Submariner the pinnacle of timeless and valuable accessories. Behind the Hype, Rolex Submariner. Presented by Ray-Ban Stories, the first generation of smart glasses from Ray-Ban and Facebook.
Here I have this diver's watch. It's called a Submariner. I dive with it. It's actually quite valuable.
The Submariner is a subtle status symbol, a sports watch that also conveys class and luxury. The elite design is one of the most iconic in history. The rotatable bezel circling its face, signature Rolex dials, and polished oyster steel casing and bracelet are some of its most notable features.
This is like the watch that birthed every other dive watch you've seen since.
Rolex offers the Submariner in a variety of models, including the original in oyster steel, the Submariner date with a date window and Cyclops lens, and two-tone 18-karat yellow gold and 18-karat white gold versions of the date. Every new model features bespoke details and improved features that set it apart from other Submariners, making each watch a collector's item. A 5512 Reference Explorer, originally purchased in the 60s for $90 was resold in 2020 for $250,000. A rare, worn 1956 Submariner with a red Explorer dial was sold in 2018 for $229,000, more than 10 times its estimated sale price. And most notably, a 1956 Oyster Perpetual Submariner with a black dial and original NATO strap was sold at auction for over $1 million in 2018, making it one of the most expensive Submariners of all time. Swiss watchmaker Artisans de Genève have customized a number of unique Submariners, including bespoke skeletonized versions for tennis champion John McEnroe and football star Andrea Pirlo, and an added moon phase for Sea Shepherd founder Paul Watson.
In future, Commander, allow me to suggest a perfectly adequate watchmaker just down the street. Good God.
The Submariner has long appealed to both style and practicality. Rolex first started manufacturing the watch in 1953, starting with the 6204 reference. As the sport of scuba diving was increasing in popularity in the 50s, the Submariner was the first watch built to be waterproof in depths up to 100 meters. The watch was designed to fit divers' practical needs, featuring a rotating bezel around the face to track immersion time. The 6204 reference was formally introduced at the Basel Watch Fair a year later. A timeless piece that has only grown in popularity since it was first introduced. It's perhaps most well known as a favorite watch of one of the world's most famous characters,
Mr. Bond. James Bond.
In 1955, Rolex debuted the Submariner 6538 reference, which was featured in 1962's Dr. No, worn by Sean Connery as James Bond. The movie marked a turning point for the watch, which had mostly been worn by divers up until that time. The appearance of the Submariner on Bond's wrist reframed it as an item of both functionality and class, boosting its popularity among the public as many attempted to emulate the spy's style. As the watch transitioned from a piece of equipment for sportsmen to a widely appealing accessory, Rolex introduced a date display and Cyclops lens on new models in 1966. The watches were all produced in steel until 1969, when Rolex debuted their first Submariner made from yellow gold. The Submariner remains one of Rolex's most popular watches nearly 70 years after it was first introduced. Demand for the Submariner has remained high, leading to a number of counterfeits on the market. Though it is still used by divers, the once utilitarian timepiece has transformed into a mainstay for watch collectors and aficionados.
You love this watch, right?
I do. I absolutely love that watch.
Limited releases have become highly sought after collector's items. Rare models is seen as investments, such as watches with the red depth dial, gilt and faded bezel, or a 369 on the dial. The Submariner's timeless design and features have changed only subtly since it was first introduced, with the addition of the Cyclops lens and two-tone materials added to the signature rotatable bezel and original oyster steel. Its seamless blend of sports and luxury has helped the Submariner withstand the test of time in the industry and become a timepiece for the ages. Behind the Hype, Rolex Submariner. Presented by Ray-Ban Stories, the first generation of smart glasses from Ray-Ban and Facebook.